Anybody who intelligently wants to deal with some of the ills of our societies, some of its inequities, has to confront the question of where does it all come from? And not all of it comes from obvious places. So in a way, the discussion that we might have tonight is to some extent, have we hit on something here, or is it another version of, as I say, the blaming the victim?
There's a growing interest in the political and policy environment for a certain set of personal attributes, things like motivation, agency, empathy, and an ability to defer gratification, that could be described perhaps more simply as character. The possession of these traits or capabilities is an important predictor of a range of individual and collective aspirations, from things like health and educational outcomes to social mobility, political engagement, and even civility. And while the terminology differs, for example, some people talk about resilience, social and emotional skills, and so on, the central and perhaps growing importance of character is being recognized across intellectual disciplines.
Is that the focus is very clearly to be understood on capabilities, not on what we might call substantive virtues. So there's nothing in here which says, oh, we need to bring people up to have a belief in, I don't know, strong family or the importance of certain authorities. It's all about building certain character traits. And this is a fine line. You've got to be very careful about this. So if you take resilience, for example, ability to bounce back, very important. That is something that can be taught, people can be helped to build their resilience. It's very important, though, it's only ever sort of given by the state as a generic skill. The minute you start telling people what they should be resilient about, for example, well, in market economy, job insecurity, live with it, be resilient. You're overstepping the line.
Character has come on the agenda very, very strongly. What makes character, I think, is still a terrible model, because it's almost like a cocktail, really, and it works better for some people and not so well for others. And what we haven't got yet is a sense of vigilance. And when Jen and I were looking at notions of masculinity, and in my case femininity, even I was surprised, as a kind of long-term, long-in-the-tooth feminist, at how strongly the messages of what makes a good woman are conveyed still in popular culture.
So you've got your genetic possibilities, i.e. you definitely won't fly, but within that possibility, you've got potential for aspects of your gene to be upregulated or downregulated according to the demands of the environment. So if you're in an environment where continuously you are frightened and you're preoccupied with your survival, those aspects of your characteristic which have to deliver a more robust survival strategy will get upregulated, up-expressed. And there is some argument in some research, and there's some question around as to whether this alteration in the expression gets passed on to the next generation as baseline.
This isn't just a private family conversation. I think this is one that somehow the right has taken hold of, monopolised, and somehow we have to find some way of secularising it and saying the left is entitled, or liberal Democrats, or whoever, this is everybody's conversation, and I don't know how we do it. I mean, I know that a lot of young middle class, very cushioned young people who go to university cannot cope. Why can't they cope? I mean, they've had it all, as it were, and I think it's because we're much too soft. Now, I'm on the left, and I'm saying that. So, but how do we incorporate this into a much wider conversation that everybody takes part in?